Well, welcome guys back to another world match video. Today I actually have something I want to talk about. I actually have a topic for today's video. Shocker, I know. And that is the Legend Competition Season 5 results, specifically my own results and some of the things that I feel like I could have improved, my own experiences with it, and you know, me not getting top 100, because for context, I did not get top 100 this Legend Comp. I ended up getting 125th, which to be fair, is not a bad number to get. Like 125th is not bad, especially considering I did not really start grinding Legend Comp until near the end. I did that cut really poorly. But I don't know, there was a couple things that I noticed with Legend Comp 5. A couple things I noticed I could have changed, a few things that I want to work on. And overall, just like some things I want to kind of talk about with it, because I have seen some I've seen some discourse online about the nature of Legend Comp again, because, you know, that always happens. Every Legend Comp, there's people complaining about, you know, how things are ran, complaining about certain players and strategies like that. So I just kind of want to talk about it. I'm getting weighted. Nope, slime. Okay, that's fine. So, in terms of my own placement in Legend Comp 5, which, like I said, I got 125th, so I wasn't able to get top 100, which is unfortunate because I did kind of want top 100 this time around. But I had a couple of issues that I noticed. Number one, I ended up tilt queuing a lot more than I had previously. Now, what I mean by tilt queuing, and this is something that I always tell people not to do, so I was very much kind of hypocritical in that. So I don't really have anyone to blame but myself for that. White Lightning, what are you doing, brother? I can't take the shortcut, I got bounced away. Yeah, I think White Lightning might win this. Unless... hold on. Oh my god, the magnet, man. I was nowhere near it and I still get pulled into it. Yeah, this is not my race. No. You're getting stuck there. I'm getting second. Fuck you, oh my god. That was a very rough race. Lightning hitting me with the monster truck was unfortunate and I couldn't keep up, but whatever. Second place is not bad, I'll take it. First race start of the day. Alright, we're back on Radical Highway, next race of the day. So what I meant by tilt queuing, because I kind of got interrupted by getting absolutely demolished in Bikini Bottom Lap 3, is one thing I would tell people, whatever they do, like World Match, or Festival, or especially Legend Comp, don't tilt queue. And what I mean by that basically is don't queue up when you're already like super upset, when you're super mad, or when you're getting pissed off at things, because overall that just makes you play a lot worse. You end up having less fun, you lash out, which makes you, you know, you end up performing worse, which just spirals out of control. And that kind of ended up happening to me, especially on the very last day, where I had a couple of really bad races, where I had some people kind of out to get me in lobbies. And as a result, I just kind of fell behind. I also had a hardware crash. Like, I had a full-on driver crash that day as well, which costed me like a good 40 points right at the end, so I couldn't really catch up afterwards. But like I said, it happens. Things that, ooh, colorful ball, I will take that. Brother, the amount of terrorism that Wizard has been doing today. Every race I've been on, they have been slinging items left and right. What are they doing, bro? But no, one of the things I want to talk about with this particular Legend Comp was the sheer amount of targeting. I am partially in the ground. What? Why was I like partially in the ground there? That was really weird. Bro, I cannot get like a foothold today. Like, I just cannot drive. But no, there was a lot of like coordinated like targeting for a lot of the top players. Like, not just myself, but like I noticed like Miku was going through it, Johnny was going through it, Expansa was going through it a little bit. Modity, I believe, was going through it. Like, Johnny was really bad. I feel so bad for Johnny, because he was going so hard for first place in Legend Comp, and he ended up getting like hard noticed and targeted by people, and as a result, he not only lost first place, but he fell out of top 10. I think he got like 20 something. It was insane. Like I said, the amount of targeting by people and just item spam this particular comp, especially near the end, was absolutely insane. Something I do wish more people would talk about, because like I get wanting to, you know, get placements, stuff like that, but when you're teaming up against one player, it does get a little bit old. Yeah, thankfully, like it did happen to me a couple times, which is actually why I did lose top 100, but it happened a lot worse to a lot of other people that I know, unfortunately. Like, they got hit with it a lot worse than I did. But, yeah. But to be fair, like I said, a lot of the reason why I ended up losing top 100 in Legend Comp wasn't even because of the targeting per se. A lot of it was because, like I mentioned, I had a driver crash right at the end of Legend Comp 5. Like, one of the very last races I could have done, I had a driver crash, my entire, like, PC shut down. And as a result, you know, when that happens, it counts as a disconnect. You lose a lot of points. I think I lost, like, upwards to 30 to 40 points. And by that point, I had, like, I think maybe 10 minutes left in the comp. So there was no way I could come back from that. Kinda sucks, but that just kind of happens. Wolfie's here, let's go! So yeah, one thing I do want to kind of talk about when it comes to Legend Comp, because I know this happened, you know, last Legend Comp, there were the accusations of the teaming from some of the top players, which to be fair, there were some, you know, like people who admitted that they did team up. Which, and I've talked about it before, like on streams and stuff, which by the way, I do stream a lot of my World Match stuff if you want to watch those, twitch.tv/Tsuyuame. But, one of the things that I would say pretty much is, like, yeah, cross-teaming in Legend Comp is kind of cringe, but the response to the cross-teaming I think was so much worse in the actual teaming itself. But I really don't want to go Dragon Road. I'm going to try to go random. Edgar, please don't smack me. I feel like I'm back in Emogi again because like so many of the people in this lobby are in lounge. So this is like an unofficial Mogi essentially. So I have to play a little bit more carefully because like Edgar's in here, White Lightning's in here. I saw Wizard was in here earlier. I've been facing Suki a bunch. I was nowhere near that on my screen. I love desync. But yeah. But when it came to like the cross teaming accusation stuff from last Legend Comp, all of the people, like the two people who were like largely accused of it, they all streamed their perspectives this time around to show that, you know, they weren't doing it this time and still getting top spots. So to be fair, like they all did very good. Like Zach got, I forget what place Zach got. I think he got like 8th, 7th or 8th place in Legend Comp this time around. Honestly, really happy for him because he was like hardcore grinding that. And then Miku unfortunately was not able to get it. But to be fair, Miku actually had people targeting her. As in, like, people were going into her chat and just flat out saying, hey, I'm targeting you every time I see you. Like, brother, I understand not liking someone, but going out of your way to target someone like that, in my opinion, is just kind of cringe. Like, I don't know. If you can't win and all you have to do is, you know, in order to win, is just target someone, at that point, just get off the game, brother. It's not worth it. Alright, White Lightning, I am trusting you not to nade on me on this cut. We're both good at the video game. And I was able to do it just a little bit later, which meant that my NATO lasted just a little bit longer. And I was able to steal first place. I'm sorry, White Lightning, but I wasn't going to use it. But you used yours first. It kind of forced my hand there. But no, targeting in Legend Comp, in my opinion, is very, very cringe. Would not recommend doing that. 0 out of 10. Don't be cringe. Pretty much is the TLDR. Just don't be cringe. Bro, second race in a row on Metal Harbor. I did not want to come back here this quickly. But negative stuff about Legend Comp aside, there was actually some really good things that came out of Legend Comp this time around, which I am actually really happy about. That bomb was not necessary, brother. But there were a couple things that came out of Legend Comp that I think were really good that I was happy about. Like, first of all, like, I've always got into Legend Comp, and I've talked about this a bunch, like, on stream and with friends of mine in Discord, but I always go into Legend Comp with kind of like this mentality of using it to practice and learn different things that I need to improve on. So, like for example, Legend Comp 1 was, I didn't want to use level 4 meta back then, so I used a different build in order to get up to Emerald because I wanted to learn other builds. Legend Comp 2, there's a monster truck behind me, please no. But Legend Comp 2, I learned a lot more about item play, which is something that I have been very much preaching about and telling people to get good at with item play, because item play is so important with this game. Legend Comp 3, for example, like taught me, what did Legend Comp 3 teach me? I actually forget. I think Legend Comp 3 taught me, it was position. It was position strategy, that's what it was. Because your position throughout different parts of the race do matter, so I was learning more about that. Legend Comp 4 was my like introduction to Double Ring Engine because I refused to really play it until then. And then Legend Comp 5, this most recent one, was a couple of things actually. Part of it was more like item strategy, specifically like item manipulation was a really big one. But the other one that I really started learning was soft drifting and utilizing time trial lines. And doing that helped me so much throughout the entirety of Legend Comp. It was actually kind of insane. Bro, the item spam. World Match people don't know how to use items, man. Like, that one at least makes a little bit of sense. There was an item set coming up, so you wanted to cycle. So I at least, you know, recognize that. But some of the other ones have been kind of insane in this match. But like learning how to properly utilize item lines, or like track lines, item manipulation, stuff like that. It was a very good way for me to learn. Yeah, I lost first place there. I didn't have any defense, but whatever. I'll take second. I'm happy with that. I was able to catch up though. I had a really rough beginning of the race. So I'll take second there without really complaining. GG's on this Dust Stiletto though. One of my favorite things to come out of Legend Comp 5, honestly, and not even just Legend Comp 5, Legend Comp 3 and 4 as well, have been the Discord calls. So I used to do Legend Comp kind of, you know, on my own, just kind of suffering in silence pretty much, and it was not fun. It was not fun at all, but ever since Legend Comp 3, I've been hopping into voice calls with other people who have been grinding them, and I mean, it's suffering, don't get me wrong, like, we all still suffer in Legend Comp, but I don't know, misery loves company, I guess. It's a lot more fun grinding for Legend Comp, even if we don't end up, you know, racing each other. It's always fun just being in a voice call with people who are also kind of going through the same thing. It made it a lot more enjoyable, and honestly, like, the last several Legend grinds have been a lot of fun. Other than, you know, like I said, like, some of the more negative things that have happened. But for the most part, they've been a lot of fun. Ooh, I wonder if I can pull off Nisk this time around. I was trying to pull off Nisk a little bit earlier, but did not happen because I think I got weighted or slimed last time I was here, I forget. But I want to try to pull off Nisk, unless someone has a tornado, in which case, I'll just let them do it. And, oh, I almost got it. I had it up until the very end, and I was nowhere near that bomb, and I'm telling you, level 3 bomb needs an indicator. Even if there's no other item, like no other change to bomb, at least give level 3 an indicator, man. It's actually dumb that it doesn't have one. I'm not like on board of like everyone being like, oh, nerf all the items and stuff, because a lot of the items are pretty well balanced. You just have to learn how to counterplay them. But I do think it is kind of dumb that bomb, especially level 3 bomb, is the only item to not have an indicator at any point. It's a little bit weird, especially considering how devastating level 2 and level 3s are. Okay, not exactly what I wanted. Give me a shield, there we go. Alright, there we go. I will gladly take first out of that. I was a little bit worried because I didn't have any defense items, but I had to cycle out, and that cycle ended up being kind of the best thing for me. Oh, I didn't even realize that Ram was in here. Holy. Yeah, Ram is a good player. Alright, here we are on E Stadium. So one thing I want to point out with E Stadium and a couple of the other courses, because I will be making like a detailed guide on different driving tips, tricks, stuff like that for beginners. This dirt section, always drive through it. Even if you don't have a wisp, it is faster regardless on if you have a wisp or not. I've seen a lot of people, especially newer players, just kind of not take that path. But honestly, if you're not running a build that requires rings at all, just go through it. Even if you don't have a wisp, it is faster on both laps. Yeah, I messed that up a little bit. It's on me. Okay, we're back up to full speed. Honestly, I'm fine with pretty much either of them. I probably should have gone Sweet Mountain then if I knew it was going to be Minecraft. Minecraft is not a horrible track, but it is a very strong bagging map, which I'm, as you can tell from my build, I'm very much not a bagging player. So Minecraft, I pretty much just have to kind of run. I am going to cycle out and hope for a NATO or preferably a shield. Not the most helpful item, not gonna lie. I mean, there is a shortcut coming up that I could do. And then obviously there is the final E Stadium cut, which I'll probably try to save for. That said, I haven't seen any Boom Boo yet, so I'm a little bit worried. I probably am. Yeah, I think I'm gonna cycle out, try to get a shield or a wisp or something. Double hazard item, not the best thing you can get. In fact, actually, double item blast is the only way you can get that. But that does mean I have a defense chance up out of this. And I still roll the offense item. Yeah, my luck is not the best. Alright, we're gonna keep rolling. This is the last item set, so hopefully something good. We get the same items again. Alright, well, thankfully we have a gap, so it doesn't really matter. I am shocked that there was not a single Boom Boo that entire race. There were no Boom Boos, no waits. That was the only time I think any Red Wing came on. I wonder what happened. You do not normally get races like that where it's very chill in the front without any sort of Red Wing shenanigans. There was just nothing going on there. Alright, here we are on Sand Road. This is actually a pretty stacked lobby. We have Gohan JDS here, we have Stickman, and we have Pancake 13. We have a couple of pretty strong people. There's a Must Truck starter right next to me. I'm going to slow down. So Sand Road is one of those courses that are very good with bagging, regardless on what build you have. Whether you have double wing engine or full-on bagging build, it's always worth kind of trying to get at least one wisp near the start. Alright, there we go. And I'm immediately getting punished for being in the pack. So one thing I did notice, I was kind of looking at builds earlier, was Stickman is running a strong finish bagging build. So that means I do kind of want to get ahead of him, but he is also just slinging items left and right. What is going on? This lobby does not know what they're doing, man. Alright, we are in Hidden World though. I do like this this skin. It does make the crossbow look a little bit better, a little bit more enjoyable to play, having the null space mod on. Big shout out to the mod creator for creating that. I actually did a whole video recently on different mods that I like in the game. Most of them were the character mods, but there were a couple of stage mods that I had referenced in there as well. So if you haven't checked that video out, go do so. It was a really good video. It was honestly a lot of fun to do. Yeah, I'm just not able to gap, man. There's been so much item slinging by people who just don't know how to use items. It's hard to get a grip or hard to get a lead at all. Well, speaking of null space music, kind of well timed. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and grab this. I'm gonna try to hug the quarter as tight as I can. Nothing good, unfortunately. Like, I'm not able to take any cuts with this, so if anyone has a wisp, they could do it. Thankfully, I don't have to worry about KB anymore. There's no Boom Boo out for the rest of the race. So I think we're all set. There is a monster truck behind me. I did not even notice until I looked behind, because the indicator did not go off until the very last second. But I look behind me and I just see a monster truck barreling down. One of the most terrifying sights that you could see in this game, in my opinion. And we're very close to 18k. We're gonna be able to hit it today, I think. I'm really excited for that. Alright, here we are on Crystal Mine. I see the monster truck starter in front of me. I'm going to stay back a little bit, at least till they use it. He seems like someone who uses it pretty much off rip. At least if he, yep, there we go. Yeah, he did that during the sand road race we just had, so I kind of figured that was what he was gonna do. I'm actually gonna go down, grab the 20 ring, I think. Bit of a waste of time. I'm getting bumped around. I cannot get a handle on my car. I probably should not have done that, but it's fine. We take the cut up here. We're back in first. Right next to White Lightning. Let's go. Me and you against the world, my friend. He does have a tornado. I do trust him not to use it. White Lightning's usually pretty good with items, but... Okay, I don't know what. Why did you brake check me, man? To be fair, something I've noticed with this controller recently is I've been getting a lot more instances of drift lock, where I would try to go one way and counter, but the controller just refuses to let me counter drift, so I just keep going the wrong way. That's kind of what happened just there. I was trying to turn right so I could use my wisp into the cut, but my controller drift locked, so I wasn't able to counter, so I just kept turning left, and that ended up making me lose quite a bit of time, unfortunately. But thankfully we are able to keep up. I could try to do the really cool shortcut, but I only have one wisp, and I rather would save it for probably the construction cut. Yeah, I'm not going to get another wisp. I think I'm going to save it for the other cut. So White Lightning is up ahead. I do want to be a little bit careful. I do see Gohan has a wisp. I don't know what White Lightning has. It looks like another NATO. No, it looks like a shield, actually. Okay. Shield and magnet. Ooh, we were close. We were really close. I actually don't know who won that. No, I have been able to take the very beginning cut in Crystal Mine, but I need to get a bit better. We did win that. Holy! That was a very close race. Big GG's to White Lightning. And with that, we hit 18,000 points. Let's go. Let's go. Well, I think with that, I think that is going to be the end of this video. So thank you all so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time for more Sonic Racer Cross Worlds World Match. Bye-bye.